Alrighty, so breaking down my $4,500 trade on XRP on Fulcrum. I was going to use BidFi today, but for some odd reason, BidFi locked me out of my account. I had to send them an email today, and they didn't get back to me in time. I don't know if it's due to inactivity or what, but I was unable to log into my BidFi account today, so I just ended up using Fulcrum. Great trade today on XRP. So I want to break this down first. We'll go over what I was seeing just in terms of session tracking, using 2.0 methodologies, also incorporating the dark pools, specifically the $1.34 threshold that we've been discussing for some time, and then also the $1.36 dark pool. And then we'll go over and I'll show you guys how utilizing the order flow, I was able to close this position right before it reversed. And then we'll roll over into the Canton breakdown. Okay. So first, session tracking. Let's go to the higher time frame. We're just going to take a peek at the 5 minutes so you guys aren't seeing a whole bunch of fractal PA. What I was seeing coming into this New York session and how I was marking up my charts. I actually haven't deleted my markings. You can see here using the SFL or the session indicator. I was just simply highlighting London sessions low, which comes in roughly around the $1.34857. I was highlighting the candlestick bodies down to the wick or this last down move before the break of structure that took place rolling into London as my area of interest, where during New York session, I was saying to myself, this is a low where as long as price is making bullish order flow above, not only are we trading above the dark pools at $1.34 and have had a buy delta held at a dark pool, but we're also still printing bullish price action coming into this New York session if price holds above this level. My second area of interest was very clean and simple, and it was the Asia session low. So highlighting again the down candle before the up move, which printed this last buy delta held pattern where we can see sellers made an attempt. Buyers absorbed those sellers and became aggressive, breaking into a new structure high. That base from this bullish move was respected. Price then again created a higher high, higher low above a dark pool at $1.34 and continued with the overall bullish momentum. All right, so these were my two areas of interest today coming into the New York session, where I was saying to myself, as long as price is above these areas, I'm going to look to be a buyer. All right, so that's how I got my areas of interest today during New York. To continue. All right, so now that we were trading above my areas of interest, you can see when New York session opened. I'll take off the session indicators so it gets a little bit more clear for you all. New York session opened, and what do you guys notice about where New York session opened now that I've showed you guys where London session and Asia session bought from? So this is where New York session opened. Where was price action trading at compared to where Asia and London had bought
It was
from?
pulling back, wasn't it?
Premium.
Yeah, it was at
At
a
a premium.
premium, right?
Premium.
Yeah, it was at a premium. So it was very easy using the 2.0 methodology to say to myself, logic, and using just logical analysis, well, if Asia session bought from down here and London session bought from here, I'm not going to be a buyer and chase the price action prior to the New York session, which we can clearly see they used to manipulate uneducated retail investors. Most likely, there were buyers here prematurely to the New York session, retail traders getting trapped in positions, chasing that bullish momentum. Same thing here. We know not to trade until after the 8:30 a.m. window, and we know that if New York session is going to buy, they're likely going to do it at an area where they previously did it before during Asia or London. And so all I simply did to catch this move was after we saw price come down into the London session lows, which you can see happened here, I just waited for a shift in momentum. So you don't buy when price comes into the area of interest, albeit it could have been an aggressive entry that would have, resulted in a little bit more profit for myself. But that's not the point of the strategy. The point of the strategy is to give yourself an edge in the market to trade in tandem with the volume when it shows its hand. So after we saw this failure swing low or a new high and a new higher low in the market, I then waited for that shift in structure. And so we got that shift in structure where price broke a previous resistance. Now, this bearish move sketched me out a little bit, because it broke back beneath the triple moving average. So I was saying to myself, sellers are still showing their hand here. I want to see one more higher high, higher low formation. And so sure enough, we got that. Price made a new higher low and a new higher high formation. There then was my new one, my new two. And for this position, simply all I did to gauge the pullback area was take my fib from the low to the high. I waited for price to come down into the 70 to 79% retracement. I executed a buy position at 79% discount, which you guys can see. It touched to the absolute pip. As soon as I executed my position, I entered in my stop loss right beneath the previous low. And I simply just rode this up into the dark pool at $1.36. Once $1.36 was hit, I moved my stops on Fulcrum. You can't move your stops into break even, but I did move them up slightly nice and tight beneath my entry just in case price reversed. What I noticed, however, is after this aggressive bullish move through the dark pool, the reason why I closed first, just using the naked charts, highlighting previous structure, we can see that there was a previous support during London session here in this area, which was violated with this bearish move, i.e. buyers getting trapped at highs, sellers passively defending the sell wall, trapping buyers again, and becoming aggressive enough to shift structure. During London session, this was a key area of previous support, now acting as a resistance, and the overall downtrend from London continued. So I highlighted that previous support acting as a resistance and extended that over to the right-hand side. And you can see after we broke this, not only breaking the dark pool where the previous dark pool acted as a resistance, was broken with bullish buy volume, but then I was sitting there saying to myself, if this was a previous resistance and it has now been broken, ideally we want to see this become the new support. And we want to see higher highs and higher lows or buyers defending this area and continuing with aggressive buy volume. And we did not get that. And so the reason why I closed this XRP position, very simply put, is again just thinking in terms of effort versus result. Here we have effort by sellers after making a lower high compared to the previous one. That led to a break in previous support, which we know existed over to the left-hand side. And after we broke that previous support and we see buyers come back into the mix, look at this buy volume. Without the volume charts, you can see it clear as day. If this was aggressive buy volume, it would have completely engulfed the sell volume and started making higher highs and higher lows above it. And instead, think about it in terms of effort versus result. We see 1, 2, 3, 4 buy volume candles, and it does not engulf the previous bearish leg. Where if we were tracking this price action, here's your high, here's your low, here's your lower high, here's your lower low. And now here is the buyers making an attempt to defend against the dark pool at $1.36 and become aggressive, but they failed. And so after this one up, one down candle, right there is where I closed this buy position. Super happy that I did because after that, price absolutely took a piss. Now that at the same time was when I was checking Financial Juice and I was seeing the headlines come out around the Iranian ministers talk about how there's no ongoing negotiations and that they're not going well, blah, 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 which also fed into the narrative of me taking out this position in favor of a risk on environment, right? So that just on the naked charts is why I closed this position. We see a swing or a failure swing high, i.e. a lower high, a break in previous support, now acting as a resistance, and a failure by buyers to aggressively defend this $1.36 dark pool and push price up into a new high. Right? So that gave me the green light to take my buy position off the table. Like I mentioned, I was up 5,000, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 5,400 bucks when it was all the way up here. I was still cool with what I got, closed the position, made a quick 4 grand on XRP today. All right. So that was my buy for XRP, just using the naked charts. Very beautiful, waiting for price to come down into London session, waiting for that bullish confirmation. This bearish price action, I had thought at the time, was just a reaction from the sell base here, because you can kind of see it. This previous support was broken here with this bearish move. And so the reason why I wanted to wait for a little bit more confirmation is because this bearish move here I thought was a reaction from the sell base. So I waited for another higher high to be made. Once we got that, then I was like, okay, cool, buyers are still in control. That is then when I took my fib from the low to the high and waited for that pullback. All right. Coming over to the order flow aspect of it, something that helped me close this position today. All right. So first, just looking at my notes on order flow. Here you can see this is where the New York session had opened and we got that nice drop down in sell volume. Now this gray box here, where you can see the last down candle was sell volume, followed by a bullish candle with buy volume. This was that London session low. Just so you guys know where we're at in terms of price action. Okay. So you can see this low here. This is London session's low. This little tiny blip, this pullback right here, followed by this bullish move, is this price action right here. Okay. So I highlighted that on the order flow as it was the last down candle before the up move and said to myself that this is a previous support that needs to hold or a base that needs to hold if buyers are going to remain in control. So coming into this New York session, you can see aggressive sellers making an attempt to break that previous support, but they failed. So here in my notes, it says bearish volume does not take out the buy volume. Look left, previous resistance then turns support. So here in this bearish candle, you can see a sell wall. That sell wall is broken with this bullish candle, and then it is retested. And right after the sell wall is retested, you can see support is thrown up. So previous resistance turns into support. Here also, you have a London session low where sell volume is failing to engulf all of this previous buy volume. After that happened, I had noticed that this bullish momentum took out a resistance, making a new structure high. This is where I got a little bit skeptical on this pullback right here, this bearish pullback, because of this aggressive sell volume that had broken two previous supports. So I waited. I waited for this bullish move, and yet again, we have another resistance broken. So you can clearly see that sellers who are trying and making an attempt to trap buyers and become aggressive are failing. And instead, buyers are constantly absorbing that sell volume and breaking resistances, keeping price above support. So this is then when I saw my new base or my new A to B move. Once price retraced down into the support walls, I simply executed my position, stop loss nice and tight beneath the lows, and I wrote it up into the dark pool. Right here is where I closed my position on the order flow. As you can see, aggressive sell volume. This gray box right here is that previous resistance that was acting as a support, was broken with aggressive sell volume, and then started to act as a resistance that we had highlighted over on the naked charts. Here. Just the way you guys know where we're at in terms of price action, right? If we go back over to the picture, you can see buyers, logically speaking, if they were in control, this aggressive buy volume, once retested, would have continued with more aggressive buy volume and trapped sellers, or trapped sellers, then more aggressive buy volume. But instead, we see the complete opposite. We see aggressive sellers. We see trapped buyers, i.e., buy volume in a bearish candlestick. Then we see a sell wall. And then immediately following that, we see a support broken with aggressive sell volume. So I closed after I saw the sell wall and the trapped buyer. And then after that, we continuously see Aggressive sellers break previous supports, trap buyers, constantly follow through with aggressive sell volume, breaking more supports, trapping more buyers, throwing up sell walls. This is where they defended the dark pool. Right here in this area, you can see $1.34. There was a massive battle here. They broke back below the dark pool, trapped buyers at the dark pool, and then constantly threw up more aggressive sell volume, pushing price lower. All right. So that was my XRP buy today. And like I mentioned, definitely not trading MNQ and XRP at the same exact time again because that shit was low-key stressful this morning. I'm not gonna lie. All right. But yeah, in and out. Hope that breakdown helped you guys out. See that you can use these methodologies that we teach in this community to take nice little tiny positions during New York or London or Asia session, whatever floats your boat, in pretty much any asset class that you like. I mean, I don't know about trading like freaking corn or, any of those commodities, but I'm assuming that our strategy would probably work over there as well, but I've never tried it. Um, But yeah, clean XRP trades today. Really great notes and feedback on MNQ trades today. Outside of that, though, that is all the TA that I have for you guys. If there's any questions or anything that you guys want to go over in regards to this trade, feel free. If not, then we'll roll over to a quick Canton presentation.